I can see new faces among you and very few old faces. And on the high table, there are, I think all of us, some of the old faces. Our guest of honor, Professor Kweka, has been an active member of TEA since he was a student. Professor Matawala as well, Dr. Ndomba, and Dr. Molel as well. So these are some of the old faces. I can see Dr. Chidege, and maybe another few faces which I'm familiar with. So I'm quite delighted to see some young faces who are aspiring to be members of the Tanzania Entomological Association. And the creation of this association began in the early 90s when a group of entomologists working in several institutions, including Sokoto University of Agriculture, TPRI by then, KSMC, the Tanzania Agricultural Research Institute, by then it's called TARO, and several other places, including some foreigners. They came together, they converged at TPRI and put up a constitution to establish TEA. In its initial years, TEA had very few members, what we call the founding members, but over time, many more people joined in, and we formed a large association. When I came in 1996, after finishing my PhD in 1995, I already found quite an active association, by then led by our chairman, retired chairman, Professor Kilonzo. Kilonzo is still there, is still very active, and is also interested in what is going on in the association. And there are others too, like the former director of TPRI, Professor Mosha, was an active member, and even some old guys like this guy who was one of the first directors of TPRI, I hope he's still alive. He used to work somewhere in the south. He worked with the locust control organization, and then before Simon, an old guy, Doctor, I've forgotten the name now, but when we formed the association, he came in as a member to see even the old guys who had been working in the field of entomology were interested to see an active association. And then we went on to conduct activities amicably. We held annual general meetings, we had our scientific meetings, and all of them, apart from one which was held in Zanzibar, all of them were held at TPRI. And therefore we had a lively association. Over the years, things were not so active. And it's only recently that some members realized that there was a very strong reason for us to recreate the association. And that is when we met at TPRI. I was contacted by Dr. Limo and of course Professor Matawala about recreating the association. And then when we met at TPRI, we discovered there was quite a lot of things that were missing. One was, first of all, we are not even aware we are the members. So we had to go through the list of former members. And unfortunately, we found that some of them were no longer with us, including those who had held positions in the association, like our former executive secretary was no longer with us. So we started going through the list, the old list, and to contact those who are still alive and those who are still all retired, and also to recruit some new members. Now, because we found at the time when things were not so active, up to now, the registration fee, for example, was only 5,000 shillings. Now, 5,000 shillings by then was quite a lot of money, which many members could not pay. I remember for TPRI, we used to request the Director General to pay for the TPRI members. Not because they were reluctant to pay, it's because 5,000 was just too much for them. You remember, maybe many of you may not remember, when you see your salary right now in 6 figures, by then it was in 3 figures. And what I'm saying, 3 figures, something from 1,000 to 9,000. For 4 figures, I mean, 4 figures. So that was not so much. People could not afford to pay 5,000. But currently, 5,000 is really peanuts. You can't do anything with 5,000. Even when you give money to your child who's going to school, you actually give him or her more than 5,000. So, but we said we have no constitutional right to ask the aspiring members to pay more than that. So what we suggested is that we continue to ask people to pay the old registration fee of 5,000, and then in this particular meeting which we're holding today, we can start discussing how much should the registration fee be. And we requested Dr. Nomba to receive that amount to organize this particular meeting. So whatever, I'm sure it's not even enough to organize this meeting today. But I want to give you that history so that in the way forward, you can understand where we come from and where we want to head to. Now that we have been able to convene an AGM today, there's quite a lot of tasks in front of us. One of them is, first of all, to look at the old constitution, and secondly, to appoint by election means the new administrators or the new leaders of the association. There are those of us who have been here for too long. We have to, what Mwalimu Nyerere called kungatuka. So naturally sisi ni watu kungatuka, and then give this to more energetic, more active leadership that can head the association into the future. So that's a big step we have to make today, hold a general election. Now, the reason we requested many of you to be here physically or online, I'm sure people are right now listening to us, those who are online, is that we needed, first of all, a consensus, and then we needed enough numbers of people, first of all, from a pool that we can choose the leadership from, and a pool that can vote for the new leaders, so that come tomorrow, we may not go back to square one saying, no, we didn't follow the constitution. So this is the first point. And secondly, it's for you to come out with names of people whom you believe in, people who are going to head the association, people who are going to take the interests of the association first instead of personal interests, people who are going to be able to focus into the future, not the future for 5 years, but maybe 20, 30 years. So these are the kind of people that we need in the association. The other thing that we have to do is to make several other decisions. First of all, where is the head office of the association going to be? Traditionally, it has been TPRI, not by coincidence. It's because the founding members found that there was such a big pool of entomologists at TPRI that if they were given the position, if they were given the chance to be the headquarters of the association, whenever we needed to hold a meeting, we are going to have a big pool of people coming from here who are not going to cost the association or the institution too much money for them to move away, let's say to go to Sokoine University or another place. So that was the reason. And I still believe that TPRI is a place where you have so many entomologists who are capable, and also where we can have the headquarters of the association. I'm not trying to influence that. I'm just saying the reasons why we had it here. Mr. Chairman, these are just general remarks. And because there's going to be quite a lot of talk today about the association, let me end up here.